Hello, chat. Good morning. Good morning. Hold on, I can't see you. Also, you can't see me. Ha ha ha. So sneaky. Get wrecked, chat. How you guys doing? Good morning. This is great. Okay, I'll just leave it like this. I'll just leave it like this. The people have spoken. Okay, you guys, I'm trying new transitions and new things here. So don't mind me. Hi, guys. What's up? Here, listen. Let me give you a little lowdown of what the heck we're going to be talking about today. All right, just you hold your horses there, chat. All right. So we're going to be talking to Jacob. So Jacob is the developer. He's a developer at NVIDIA who created Container Canary. So basically what Container Canary is that it allows you to check that your containers are conform to the requirements that are being set by a specific product. So here is like a little blog post that he wrote. Maybe I'll add a little command for this. I feel like I should let him talk about it a little bit more because obviously I just work here, okay? I'm do my best, but like who better to explain it than the author? So let's get him on. Okay, well, hi Jacob. Welcome to stream. Chat,
Hi.
let us know if you have any audio issues where you can't hear him. But it should be good. You can say hi. All the people are here.
Hi, people.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about Container Canary?
Yeah, sure. So, like you said at the intro, I guess, like it's a little command line tool for testing whether or not your containers like meet your expectations almost. So, you can use it for writing unit tests for containers. You can use it for integration tests or whatever it is you're doing. You basically like describe what your container should do through like a series of probes that get run on the container. It's kind of borrowed from the Kubernetes API a little bit. But yeah, it all kind of came about because I work on like a few different projects. One is like this open source Python project called Dask, which is like a distributed computing framework for Dask for Python. So you can write like code that runs across many machines. And as part of that, we maintain a bunch of Docker images for Dask. And then I also work on Rapids, which is like a bunch of Python libraries for doing GPU accelerated data science. So if you've done anything in the data science space and use like pandas on NumPy or scikit-learn or anything like that, Rapids is like GPU accelerated versions of those. And again, for that, we like maintain Docker images. And questions come up from time to time about like, oh, can these Docker images be used in this situation or used in that situation? And so we like make little changes to them and make sure that they work. And like I was doing some work with Kubeflow a while ago, which is like a Kubernetes-based machine learning platform. And we were trying to make sure that the images worked with Kubeflow. And I like made a few changes to the images. They ran on Kubeflow. That was fine. We published the images. And like an internal NVIDIA system like completely broke because we'd broken like the expectations of the container in that system. So yeah, it was not great. I mean, it took like an hour to fix or something. It wasn't like a major issue, but it was one of those things where we were like, oh, we need some tests for these containers. We need to actually be able to check that these things are doing what we expect and that we don't break other things randomly by making changes to them. We're like so used to doing that for code, but not for like infrastructure stuff quite as much, and not for like container images for sure. So I'd look around and I was like, there must be some testing tool or testing framework for this. And I just couldn't find anything that did what I wanted it to do. So I ended up just going and writing like a little command line tool that allows us to basically write tests. And then we can make sure, right, we've got tests that make sure that internal system works. We've got tests that make sure Kubeflow works. We've got tests for whatever. And then every time we make a change to those images, we can just run the tests, just like we would in code, really. But I had to like make the tool in the first place for it to actually use it.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. So how long did it take for you to build this project, and like and so two questions actually. How long did it take you to build this project, and how long have you been working at NVIDIA?
So the project itself, I spent maybe like 3 or 4 days on it to get it to like a working state, and then that was like the first like 0.1 just to like actually run it in our CI. And then I spent like, once we kind of convinced people that this was a useful thing and that we should be putting more effort into it, I spent maybe another week or so upgrading it. And that was the point actually that I integrated all the charm stuff to make it like more usable on the command line, because it was just hacked together at the beginning. So yeah, it's like a pretty small project. There's not that much code. It didn't take that long to write. But yeah, so for the other question as well, I've been at NVIDIA for about 3 years or so now. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I guess the live stream and like you're kind of representing NVIDIA, so I won't ask if you like it, but I'm assuming you like it if you've been there that long.
I like it. I haven't got anywhere else yet. It's a good place to be.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I can definitely relate to the chaos of like trying to just bootstrap something for the command line and then realizing that it just has like the worst interaction to have to like interact. Yeah, it's just like the worst to have to interact with, especially when you're just trying to run it through like all these subcommands and stuff like that. That was what brought me to Charm as well for like one of my side projects before I joined. But yeah, so which Charm libraries and stuff do you use, and like how do you use them in Container Canary?
So it's just bubble tea, I think, just for the like TUI stuff. Um, and I guess I need to actually look at the code, see exactly what I'm using. I'm using some of the things like the progress bars and stuff in there. Let me have a poke about.
So chat, by the way, you can, if you're like interested in kind of seeing the like actual examples of like using Container Canary and stuff like that, you can use the canary command in chat, and that one will actually like link you to a blog post that Jacob wrote about how to use Container Canary and all of that. So that one I found very, very helpful. I was reading that the other day just to like make sure that I was all ready for this. But yeah, so if you'd like, we can go through some of the questions. I sent you some questions just so that, you know, you had an idea of what I might want to ask you. But we can like go through some of those questions. They're going to be more so, I guess, oriented around like kind of your growth while you were building it, and like just little things like that are pretty kind of generic. And then you mentioned maybe wanting to work on, like do some pair programming on a new feature or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, cool. So I guess number one, because this is like so generic, but what are some of your favorite things about the command line? And like why did you choose to make a command line tool?
I mean, I spend most of my day, I've got like a web browser and a command line and VS Code open, and Spotify, and there's like the only things that are open on my laptop like all of the day. So I'm in a command line like most of the time. And yeah, I guess the reason why this is a command line tool is because it's meant to be run in CI, like primarily, right? Like the whole like intention of it is that we can write some tests, we can check them into version control, and then every time we make changes in the future, like an automated system can run those tests. So like the best way to integrate that is with a command line utility. But I also wanted it to be nice for people to use interactively while they're doing it, which is why I kind of wanted to put the extra effort in for, you know, using Charm and those kind of libraries, and actually make a TUI around it.
Yeah. I noticed that it can integrate with like GitHub CI and all of that, and you have that outlined in your blog post, so it's like pretty easy to follow. I was actually shocked as well just how straightforward it seems. Like you kind of just you create a manifest with like different requirements, and then and then you run it, and it'll tell you if it passes or fails and like what specifically needs to change in the container, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then, so how did you come up with the name Container Canary?
So that's part of like, I don't know, it's slightly unfulfilled, it's slightly incomplete like thought process with the project. So like one of the intentions of it is, at the beginning, was that it was gonna start a container and then like interact with a container to figure out whether or not it does what it says it does. And part of that was going to be like, well, you need to be inside the container to like actually interact with it from inside. We need to see what the user is. We need to interact with the file system. We need to see what processes are running, all that kind of stuff. And so like the idea was that like, oh, this library can be like the canary down the coal mine. It's like the thing that you send into the container to scope out whether the container is like safe or not. So like part of that original intent was that when it starts the container, it was going to mount itself, like the actual the canary binary. It was going to mount that inside the container and then execute that so that the binary would both be like outside and inside, and then they could communicate and kind of probe from the inside. I've like not actually gone that far with it because using the Kubernetes like exec probes and HTTP probes and stuff like has satisfied like 99% of the problems I needed. So I haven't actually needed to like put the binary inside the container, which is where the like canary name came from. But I don't know, I still like it as like a testing tool name. Thanks. I was worried actually that it was going to like conflict with the idea of like canary deployments and doing like gradual percentage rollouts, because that's like the other thing that you might Google like in this space. But I don't know, it doesn't seem to be a problem so far. If you Google Container Canary, it's like the top hit now. So I'm happy that it's obviously like the name is unique enough that it appears.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I really liked it. Okay, and then let's do a little bit of a retrospective, because I personally I love hearing, and this is a big part of why I enjoy live streaming, is kind of like you show kind of the less glamorous parts of development. So I'm very curious, what did you do well when you were building this project, and was there anything that you struggled with that came up while you were building it?
Yeah, I mean, I struggled with loads of stuff, I guess. Like I'm a Python developer, really. I write Go when it's like my compiled language of choice, I guess. I use it when I'm building something that I need, either something really fast or something compiled, just because it's pleasant to use. I learned it originally through like contributing to Kubernetes and Docker and those kind of projects, but like I'm really not that good at it. So when I was like, oh, I'm going to build a little command line tool for doing testing, like Go was like seemed like a clear, easy choice of like, oh yeah, that's a good language to use for building something like this. But I'm not like super confident in my Go ability. I actually got way better at Go in building this project. So just actually learning more about like all of that kind of stuff was useful. I think, I don't know, when I first built it, I used like the Cobra and Viper, the like config and command line tools.
Yeah.
And then like retrofitted the charm stuff into it. And that was like quite a big refactor to like fit with the model of ability, which is basically like the old school web application, like MVC model, right? Which is fun. I've not seen that. I used to be a PHP developer like years and years ago. And it was fun to like go all the way back to that model, which I've just not done in like data science and scientific computing for a long time. So like that took a lot of reworking. So I maybe had wished that like I wish I knew about these tools at the beginning. I guess like, so to tell the story a little bit about how I came across Charm and things was because I write Python most of the time. I also build other command line tools in Python. And so I use Rich, which is like quite a popular Python library for doing, it's kind of like the bubbles in Bubble Tea. And now they're coming out with Textual, which is, I guess, like Bubble Tea. And like I really like those libraries and I use those a bunch for doing different things, but I wanted to do this in Go because Go seemed like the better language choice for this project specifically. And so I like tweeted about like, I really like Rich and Textual. Is there anything in the Go space like this? And the author of Rich and Textual like replied saying, oh, go and check out Charm. They're doing cool stuff. I've had some useful conversations with them about command line tools between the languages. So I ended up like through his recommendation coming in and then trying to integrate it. So that, I mean, I rewrote most of the project, I guess, to like get it in the right shape. But like now it's way easier to maintain and works much better. But like, switching to the whole like event handling system was like a big lift.
Yeah, totally. Especially if it's something that I feel like it's like the first time that you do it, it's just like, I mean, for me at least, like that was my first ever time working with like the Elm architecture in any way. And like, yeah, just kind of understanding how things tie together. There was a big blocker for me for a while. And then it's kind of like as soon as you get past that first run with it, it's like, oh, it feels so intuitive and like easy. But yeah, for sure. Like the first little bit with it is just like feels a little bit confusing. I'm doing my best to try and make it a little bit less confusing for new people, but I feel like sometimes you just kind of gotta bang your head against a wall enough for like something to change, you know? Yeah, that's awesome. Did you find, so how long have you been doing development?
I don't know. I mean, I probably started doing stuff in high school, which was, you know, 15 years ago or whatever. Like trying to do, I don't know. I like computers from like a young age, and so I was always trying to figure out like how do I make this computer do more stuff. And I think I'm young enough that I missed the like BBC Micro and Commodore and like that kind of era of the folks that like started writing code, like low level code at like an early age because computers were like that. I kind of, my first real PC was like Windows XP. So I think I like got into programming more through like web development. I was like, oh, I can write this HTML page and open a web browser and make this page display and do what I want. And then started getting into JavaScript, and that kind of pushed me into the PHP space because that was like the way to, I guess, write backend stuff for websites in like 2003 or whatever. But like I was playing with these things and trying to learn and stuff, and I ended up like building random websites and things for people like through high school. And then when I left, I was like, I got an offer to go to college, but then also there's like near me is the like UK's weather and climate like government agency, the Met Office, and they're quite keen on like hiring people straight out of high school and doing like internal training. I think it's partly just because the government jobs don't pay like insanely as much as like maybe college grads are expecting.
Yeah.
So like I went there and came in through that route, and kind of had in my mind, I was like, right, I want to be a developer. How do I be a developer? I'm in this place. I like started in the QA team, and then after doing that for a while, moved to being a sysadmin and kind of got more into the like Linuxy side of things.
Yeah.
And then eventually like transitioned into being a developer, and that kind of really pushed me down the Python route because they were like big and heavy on Python. So yeah, kind of I joined them in like 2012. So that's probably like the beginning of me being like a professional software engineer. So 10 years.
Nice. Yeah. Python was like my little like entry point as well when I was doing system admin work for a while, and I think I was kind of like I was just kind of transitioning out of like intern to sysadmin, and I became like the go-to person for like automating things because I would just automate parts of my job in Python that I didn't want to do. And so I love Python. I have like a little soft spot for Python for that reason of just like I think it's such a great place I always recommend it for like people who want to learn to code. Like start with Python. It's like syntax is pretty easy to get a hold of, and like there's a lot you can do with it. So yeah. Did you find so
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I write Python like all day every day, so it's like I don't know, it's one of those like obviously there's downsides to the language, but you can do so much with it and it gets so much better. It's crazy how like the amount of times I have to reach for another language is like getting less and less, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. Sorry, I'm just double checking. Is the audio out of sync, chat? Did you find, so you said that you built this in a few days. So I'm very curious to hear what's your process. So if you're building something like this, you know that you have a very clear problem space. How do you, like, where do you start? Do you start just kind of like drawing things out, and then, or do you just kind of like start at this point now that you're like a very comfortable doing development? Like, did you just kind of start writing code right away, or what's your process with that?
Yeah, I jump into code. I jump into code probably earlier than I should. I tend to not do that much in terms of like drawing and stuff. Like I have a whiteboard next to me that sometimes I like scribble stuff on when I'm trying to figure out early stuff. But I do a lot of writing. Like you see like that blog post I put out and stuff. Like it's kind of like I like to write stuff down. So one of the things I've been trying to do for a while is when I want to do something new, I try and write at least like the outline of a blog post that would describe what that new thing is. And I'll try and write some like code examples. So I think if you go to the Container Canary like Git repo and you look at the code snippet, like the first little chunk that just says like canary validate the file, that I wrote that code example before I'd written any actual code, right? I like wrote the README of this project first. And I was like, I just want to be able to run canary validate my file, my container name. And I want it to like spit out a load of pass fail things like PyTest does or GoTest or whatever. And give me like a pass or fail status at the end. And so that was like at the beginning. And then, so that's kind of how I start my process. It's like, right, what would this blog post look like? The blog post actually that you linked and mentioned, I'd like outlined that as well. Of like, okay, if I can actually do this and get this on the NVIDIA blog, like what would that post look like? So like the overall structure of that is like, right, how do I install it? When is it useful? What does it look like to write a test for this thing? And then how do I use it in CI? Because that's like the place that I really want to use it is in the GitHub Action CI for Dask and Rapids. And so like started with the blog post outline and a bit of the README. And then I tend to jump into like test-driven development. So some of this package is like not that well tested. I want to like write a bunch more tests for it. But some of the tests in there, I can't think there's some, I think there's like a main, if you go into the CMD, there's like a root test file, which is literally just calls Canary and checks things. So I kind of jump into it that way. I start outlining some of the tests. Yeah, there's one in there that's like, oh, if I call canary validate on this thing, the command should pass and like this command should fail. And then kind of once I've got a bit of an outline of like what I want that user API to look like, I'll then dive into the code. Probably like, I don't know. I always wonder whether I should write like user stories or anything for this and get a bit more, I don't know what the word is, formal about it maybe, but I tend to just like think about what like the outside will look like and think about what it's like to communicate this thing to others. And then I'll just go deep on the code and start kind of getting something that works.
Yeah, totally. I'm curious. So chat, what's your process, chat? Do you do the more formal like user stories, or do you have what kind of process do you guys like? We'll see what they say. We'll give them a moment to do that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you mentioned actually, I'll ask this real quick because we have a lot of obviously developers in chat. Are there any like contributions that you're looking for actively on your Container Canary project?
I mean, yeah, I think the main thing I want, like there's a few open issues, and I think if we can get around to doing some pair programming, it'd be cool to have a look at one of those. But like what I really need at this point is for people to like use it. Like we're using it in our team and everything. It seems to be okay, but it must be buggy, right? I've not spent a huge amount of time on it. It's only been like a couple of weeks worth of development probably. So there will be bugs. I need people to use it and find those bugs. I need people to write more manifests. I think the point that I really want to get this to, like if you read the README and the blog post and stuff, I talk a lot about Kubeflow because that is like the actual thing that I'm trying to do at the moment is make like Rapids and Dask work nicely in Kubeflow. I wrote like a Kubeflow example manifest of like, this is what I think the container image should look like for Kubeflow. And we've put this in like an example in the repo and it's mentioned in like a bunch of places. But really, I want that file, that Kubeflow test file, to live in Kubeflow's repo. And I want their documentation. Like if you look at their documentation at the moment, it's just a bullet point list of like, these are the things that your container needs to do. And it kind of explains it to a human as to what the container needs to do. And I kind of want them to have the file in their repo, and then I want their docs to be like, in order to make sure that your container will work on Kubeflow, you need to run this command, and the command should be like canary validate. And that at that point, I'll know that it's kind of actually working in terms of, as a project, right? That actually people are integrating it and kind of evangelizing it themselves. It's like, oh, you know, make sure that you're compatible with us by using Canary. And then I don't have to maintain all the examples. But I think to get to that point, I need a lot more examples. I need people to start using it. I need people to start kind of telling each other about it. to get to the point where projects then start adopting it, and I can kind of push those examples out of the NVIDIA repo and into those separate projects.
Mm-hmm. That totally makes sense. Just give me one moment here. I'm just going to make sure. I'm just going to edit the Canary command to make sure that I'm including a little bit about you and the repo as well.
Sure.
Oops, that is on your face. Just like open a new tab and it's just okay, there we go. I just updated it. Okay, that'll give people a little bit more context, and then they'll also be able to check out the repo. All right, cool. And then let me see if if I had any more questions for you. Oh, yeah. So I think you kind of touched on this already, but I'll ask anyway. So if you could wave a magic wand and add something to your project, and you didn't have to think about like time it would take or anything like that, what would it be?
I think it would. I don't know. The project itself is like reasonably complete. I think the thing I would want to do with a magic wand is like get it being used everywhere. I would like. Mm-hmm. I don't want to change my project. I want to change everybody else's project to use Canary. Mm-hmm. Like one of the like maybe slightly harder development efforts that I was talking to some other folks about is writing documentation and writing these tests and saying, you know, oh, if you want to bring your container image to Kubeflow, you should run these Canary tests and it work. What would be even better is if when you say, I'm going to use this container with Kubeflow and you click launch, it should then under the hood call Canary and like do like a pre-flight check on the container before it even tries to run it.
Yeah.
And then report to the user like, oh, I checked your container and it doesn't meet these 4 criteria. So it's not going to work. And like actually, rather than just giving folks error messages and pointing them to documentation, give you like an actual actionable list of these are the things you need to fix. And if other projects could use Canary to do that, it would give like a nice level of consistency. I don't really know of any platforms or tools that go that deep in terms of really testing users' containers ahead of time. They just kind of say, make sure it meets these criteria, and if you don't, then you'll just get an error message saying it's wrong. Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what I want to do is get it adopted in more places.
Yeah, totally. Well, and it makes a lot of sense too, right? Like it's automating, like it's something a lot of people are having to manually validate right now. And so it makes a lot of sense to like, why would you not automate that?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So should we do a little bit of pairing?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. I'll go ahead and fork Container Canary. And all right, cool. And you can't see my screen yet, and I'll have to make sure that I can share that with you. I'm missing my YubiKey. Hold the phone. Okay. All right, cool. And then, all right. So I'm going to share my screen with you. So I'm going to have to adjust our little screen situation. And then I'll also share it with chat so they can all see what we're working on. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully this doesn't crash. Last time that I shared a window in this, it crashed. So that was really fun. In Google Meet, I had to restart my computer, but it was so embarrassing. I was in a meeting and I was like I was pairing with one of my coworkers, and I was using the like a tiling window manager, and it just basically got super upset, and my entire machine just like froze.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well.
It's tough. I always want to go down that route of like Linux desktop and tiling window managers and all that kind of thing. And I play with it like occasionally, and it's just, I don't know, for day-to-day work stuff, those issues come up enough that it's like, I don't know if I want to go that far and like use this all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm used to it at this point. I just like, I expect it. I'm ready. Emotionally ready. Okay. All right. Okay. You can see my screen. Chat can see us. Should be good. Let me move you a tiny bit because you're just a little Jacob in the corner. It's too small. Okay. Now you're good. Okay. Alrighty. Pixels. I know. Listen. It's just very small part of the screen, okay? Okay, so what would you have us work on?
It's a good question. There's a few like open issues on GitHub.
Okay, sure.
One of the things we could like tackle, I guess, is at the moment if you start the container and the like port is already in use by like another process or another container, the container will just fail to start, and Container Canary will just like freak out and hang forever.
Mm-hmm.
So we could always like add a bit more validation to make sure that you can actually start the container.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good to me. Okay. So shall do. And so we're probably looking for something with the word start.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
So this is like the issue number 30, right? Canary tries to expose a container port for testing. That port is already in use. The container fails to start. Canary fails to validate.
Yeah.
Is that the right one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah. It might be worth just like reproducing it just to see it happen in action.
Okay. Do you mind walking me through how I would do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like if you go back to that issue, there's like a little YAML file at the top, which is just like a really minimal example. So if you like copy that YAML into like a new file and put it somewhere /temp or somewhere, is probably fine. Just so we could like have a minimal manifest to validate against.
Okay. Okay. So I put that in checkport.yaml. Okay, and then we'll try running this canary validate. Means I probably got to build it.
Yeah, so you should be able to do like go run main.go space validate. And then it'd be -- file and that file name.
Okay.
And then I would give Nginx on the end, because that would just test against the Nginx container, because that's just, we know that one listens on port 80 for stuff.
Getting those dependencies in there. Cannot find Nginx. Oh no. Okay, wait. I probably need to install it.
I should pull it on its own. That's...
Just make sure I have all the dependencies and stuff.
Oh, interesting. Have you got Docker on your system?
Do I have what?
Docker.
No, I don't.
Okay, that'll be the first thing we need to do then, I guess, is to get Docker, because that's like the only external dependency of this, is that you have Docker.
Okay. Let me quickly install that. I'm gonna copy what they have in their docs. What could go wrong?
Is it just Ubuntu install?
Did I just do that in here? No, I didn't. Okay, good. I was like, I guess I should be doing this not in here. Hold on. Okay, cool. And then I'll try. Okay, cool.
Does that work without the sudo? If you get rid of the sudo
Let
on
me
that
check.
command, just to make sure that you can do this as well.
No, which is really fun. I think it has to do. I probably need to install it without sudo.
No, you should be fine. If you do user mod space minus little a big G space docker space whatever your username is.
Just run that?
That should, yeah, if you run that. Oh, you'll need to sudo that, sorry.
Sorry, it like totally didn't occur to me, even though I knew that we were doing things with Docker. I was like, it totally didn't occur to me to have it installed.
You might need to restart your shell now, but you should be able to do the docker run hello world now.
Okay. I'll just restart. I should be able to just do ts new again. What was it? Docker run hello world, I think. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, hello docker.
Oh, I might have to fully restart. Okay, hold on. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm like so confused with my commands right now. Sorry. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right. Okay, we're back. Okay, and then we'll try the Docker. Ooh.
Oh, that's a shame. I'd assumed that would be enough. It might want you to like fully log out and log in again, which is not ideal.
Not ideal. Just double check.
I think if there's
Oh, I didn't create a group here. I didn't create a group for Docker.
Yeah,
So maybe
the apt install should have done that.
Should have. How do I check? Let's check.
I mean, yeah, you can give it a go.
Yeah, I'll just try and see. Maybe. Okay, yeah, it does already exist. Change username, not sure. I do have to log out and log back in. We can, I guess probably do that and we'll just restart, it'll just restart stream. You can just get people to come, they'll hang out. Yeah, I'll do that because otherwise we can't really do anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will be right back. Chat, you just sit tight. Oh wait, sudo you who am I? That'll let you skip log out and back in. Oh, chat.
Oh, nice.
New grip Docker. Okay. Chat, you guys are so helpful. They always know things. That's what they do. They just sit there and they know things.
It's always the best thing about developing on stream. Somebody knows the answer.
Mm-hmm. Command not found, lolcat. It's okay, it's fine. Okay, so maybe that'll work now.
Yeah, give it a go now.
Nice. Chat. Wow.
Yay.
I don't know. Okay. You're all getting VIP.
Cool. So with that working, you should be able to go back into the code and then run the go run again, and that should be happy this time. But that's another. I'm going to open an issue for that, because we should totally raise a more helpful error message. Maybe that's what we should do in this. Is raise a more helpful error message if Docker's missing.
We're the internet gremlins. We know things. That's what chat said. Yeah, no, definitely. That's a good idea. Okay. I was just writing that down in case either of us forgot to actually do that later. Okay, cool. So now we can actually do stuff with Container Canary. Yay. Okay. And what was I doing? It was go run. Oh wait, what am I doing? Main.go. And then it was validate, not version. I don't know why I thought it was version for a sec. Okay. And then check port YAML nginx. Exit status 1. Okay, so it's having issues finding nginx. Do I need to install that?
No, I think that exit status 1 is still Docker related.
Oh, you think?
I think it's Canary's I can't find nginx, but the reason it can't find nginx is because it can't find Docker, and then it just exits, which is not. This is the bugginess that I mentioned. That we should totally fix. That'd be good.
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, given that we're in a state where Docker is missing, or at least it's not happy that Docker is there, we should you're in a better state than I am, because I have Docker installed. So I would have to set up a fresh environment without Docker to test this. So
yeah, totally.
We could just.
I don't know. Ripgrep's not working. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to. If you know where the.
Chat is saying that you misspelled nginx, and maybe that's why it's not happy.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. That's probably true. I actually don't think I have ripgrep installed though. That's part of the problem. I messed up that command. Sorry. Thanks for your patience bearing with me in my brand new OS install.
Yeah, no worries.
Nginx. Okay. Cool. Cannot find something is probably what we're looking for. Okay, so validator.
Yeah, I'm curious. Just fix the go run command.
Pardon?
If you fix the go run command, is that happier?
If I fix it, what do you mean? Oh, right. That's a good point. Ah, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Imagine typing properly. I don't know what that feels like.
That's another issue. that I'm going to open as well. Is like if you give it a bad container name, it doesn't give you a helpful error message. This is like these are the places that it's really suffering as like good error messages.
I'm really good at breaking things. If you need, yeah, you need someone to validate, I'm really good at that. Okay, cool.
I'm like opening these issues so I don't forget.
Because I don't use a split keyboard. Yeah, that'll help. I'm sure it'll help my typing abilities. Okay, so then to reproduce, Docker run 8080 nginx, start a process that binds to port 80 in another terminal. I can just leave that comment in there, whatever. Wait, why is it giving me permission denied again? Is that because I need to continue
you need to run the. You need to do the. Was it new group and sudo or something?
Let me write that down. New group, and then sudo u. Who am I? Sudo u. Okay, cool. We're going to ignore the fact that lolcat isn't installed. I won't be too sad about it for too long. Okay, so that should work now, question mark? Yes. Okay, cool. So that's working. The other one also is working for Docker. All right. And then now I got to hop back to my previous one.
Yeah, exactly.
And then run this. And then it should say container failed to start after 10 seconds. The container also doesn't get cleaned up. Ooh. Okay, yeah. We were able to reproduce.
Yeah, so that fails. So if you do docker ps -a as well, it should show there's like shrapnel. Yeah, there it is. It's that canary runner that's in the created state.
Yeah. And then the nginx, that's what I'm running
so
in the other window.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess like a good start to this would be to at least clean up the container if this fails. Ideally, it would also give you like a useful error message to say like the port is in use, but I don't know if it knows that. So we should have a look at like what messages we get back out. So let's have I've got the code open as well. So I think there's a file called docker.go, which has got like a lot of this logic for starting the container.
And I guess it's probably, where's docker.go?
That'll be in internal and then container, I think.
Oh, well, it doesn't, that makes sense actually. Okay, internal and then container. All right. Okay.
So it's like line 67, I think, is container failed to start. Or 63 actually is container failed to start after 10 seconds. That was the one that you were seeing. Right?
Yes. Yeah. So this info.state. Oh no. My LSP. Sorry, hold on. 1 sec. Yeah, so we're learning about container validation. So Container Canary is a way to basically automate your container validation, working with any other systems. So that's kind of, I know that was the linter.
One of the questions in the chat was, does Canary automatically clean up the image container after execution? It should do, right? It should like start the container, do all of the checks on it, and then clean up the container. So this is like a bug that is not cleaning up after itself.
Okay, so then usually, where does the cleanup usually happen?
Well, the cleanup usually happens like outside of this logic, I guess. It happens in there's a file called validator, which is an internal validator, which is where like the main logic of the thing lives. So like the cleanup happens as part of the like event loop in Bubble Tea. Maybe that logic. I refactored this a while ago. I'm trying to remember where it is. It might be in tui.go actually.
Well, yeah. Normally, so like it seems my dev environment is a little bit messed up. So normally it wouldn't take me this this long to try and find something. Okay. What do you remember what it's called? The function?
Yeah, there's handle container failed, which is probably what's getting called here. And then I think near that is going to be the other things related to that. So, oh, I see it. It's handle check result is the function, which is in that internal validator tui.go.
Okay.
So it's like line 161.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So down in there, there's like it calls shutdown end.container, which is like what happens at the end. 176.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So I think that's the only place that we're calling shutdown, maybe. It calls shutdown as well if you hit Control C or Q whilst it's running.
And the shutdown is what does the cleanup and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I wonder if we should just change in the docker.go. Basically anywhere that returns an error should probably make sure that it's like remove the container as well.
So let me find where it is. So we could probably like either just include it in one of these statements, right?
Yeah, I mean there we probably just need to call c.remove before we return the error.
Oh yeah, because that's pretty much all it's doing. It's just like removing it and then returning some message to handle in the TUI, which at this point wouldn't need to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So now I'll try running it in a new one. Okay, and then I think I have to do our little workaround. Oh, I see. So the who am I is so that I wouldn't have to add sudo and that's it. Okay. It's just giving me sudo cribs. Okay. All right. So let's go to projects, Container Canary, and I'll try and reproduce it again.
Just looking back in the chat, there's some more questions in there. Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. It will just leave stale images on the executing machine. So I should probably raise another issue for that. In most of the situations that I run this, I guess I don't hugely care because it's a CI environment and everything gets cleaned up. But yeah, we should like avoid leaving stale images. Somebody else said, are you using the linter since you're big on Go for Python, something like Go and say lint would help you make sure you're always checking error return values. Yeah, my like tools are like not super like sophisticated with this, so any recommendations like that are like hugely appreciated.
Yeah, linter. Oh my gosh. So that's what I'm struggling with right now. Actually, is the fact that my linter and my Go, my like basically Go LSP server are like not attached. So it's like a little bit hard for me to like literally do anything. But that's my bad. It's because I basically I just need to get it fixed on this system. But it was like game changing for me when I started using a linter with Go, because it just like it tells you when for like all your exported functions, it's like, by the way, you need a comment for this so that your linter doesn't yell at you.
Oh, cool. That's useful.
Okay, and then
I use like Flip 8 and stuff in Python, but not in Go, so I should definitely do that.
Mm-hmm. So this, it's still showing the status as created. Is that what we would expect if we've done the clean?
We might need to, that might be the old one. We might need to like manually clean that one up. That might be left from earlier.
Oh, I see. The Docker, you mean the Docker ps-a?
Well, before we fixed it, it's the one that's called like Canary-runner-B269FC6 or whatever it is. That's like hanging around.
Yeah. So I need to remove it.
So if you just do Docker RM and that name.
Okay. I can probably just copy it here. Okay, and then we'll try Docker PSA again. Okay, cool. And then I'll try running it again and then see what the output, if we see anything.
Yeah.
We use Golang CI lint for work. It has a GitHub action, but I also use it on the command line for peer reviews, and it's a godsave when reviewing a major refactoring. Yeah, for sure. It's so nice. It's such a great way to, I find that, and like, there's this testing tool that I use as well called GoCovish. It's like, it's basically GoCov, like SH. And it basically shows you like all of your code, all of your test coverage in Go, and it's a chewy, and it'll show you like in red, like what hasn't been covered and like what has. It's really good. Actually, I don't think I have it installed right now, but, I'd be very happy to show you that one as well. That one's almost, for me, like gamifies testing your app a little bit, because it's just like you want to get it, you want to get it all green. Very fun. Okay, and then here let's check again if it's okay. Cool. So that worked.
Cool.
Cleaned it up.
Okay.
Might as well commit. I was run like git status a million times. Okay. Do you follow? I'm gonna like copy whatever format you use for your commits. Make sure that it's
whatever you like.
You don't mind?
We tend to be more like GitHub workflow and use all the labels and things, so we don't have any kind of conventions around square brackety things at the beginning of commits or anything like that. We squash everything on merge anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll do
there's an interesting conversation in the chat about like coverage and stuff now. Like there's another project that I work on a bunch called Obstroid. I work on it like less these days, but it's a Python chatbot framework for writing your own chatbots, and it's neat and stuff. But one of the things I said at the beginning when I started the project was we have to have 100% test coverage at all times, and so I like wrote this project and I made sure there was 100% test coverage. And then like every single PR that comes in like enforces test coverage. And we've been doing this for ages, but I find that it was like a good idea in that like, oh, it means I can be less hands-on as a maintainer if we've got like good test coverage, but it means that the quality of the tests are really low because everybody's just targeting coverage. And, like as long as you just run the lines, like I see people make PRs with tests, or like I see tests that I've written that don't even have any like assertions in them or anything. It just literally runs the code to make sure that it doesn't raise an exception, and then like that is the test, and it's just not a good kind of test. So I think in the last few years I've like chilled a bit on like how high I want my coverage to be.
Yeah.
But it's a useful measure generally.
Yeah, I've spoken to my coworkers about this as well. For like, I feel like a lot, and like obviously Twitch chat, like there's so many opinions as well on it. But I feel like a lot of people say like, you know, kind of aim for like roughly 75% coverage ends up being sufficient in most cases, where it's just like you just want the really key stuff, like any of your like public functions, stuff like that, anything that's like really being touched a lot, you want to make sure that has very good testing for it, right? But I could totally see that. That's really interesting how, like it causes like the quality of the test to go down when you're trying to get so much coverage in.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I used to, one of the groups I worked in the Met Office was this like R&D team, and like R&D is like a weird thing to kind of measure. Because it's, it's like, are they doing enough work? Are they outputting enough stuff? Like what kind of stuff should be coming out of an R&D team, and what kind of influence should it have? And I remember my boss at the time saying to like the C-suite folks about like, if you give me a metric, any metric, I will hit that metric. It doesn't really matter what it is. I will like manufacture things in a way that we like check that box because we all need to exist, but it doesn't mean that we're going to get good quality results, right? And like, it's impossible for you to think of a metric that will actually make us be good. It's just whatever you do will be like arbitrary.
Yeah.
And I think coverage is almost like that in that like it can be a useful thing to measure, but sometimes it can just push you into like bad habits.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Did you want to, I know that you mentioned that you were like kind of tight on time today. Are you happy with that, with what we've done, or would you like to do any more?
Yeah, I mean that was a useful fix for sure. I have like probably until the end of the hour. Like I think I'm halfway through the like time I put in my calendar, so I'm more than happy to do more stuff if
Do
you
a
want
little
to do
bit
more
more?
stuff. Equally,
Yeah.
like we've done a useful thing. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be very cool. Let's see what else. So what else? Yeah, what else would you like to work on? I'm gonna let you lead because I'm new here.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we've opened a couple of issues that might be interesting to like nail down a bit.
Try and
Um,
tackle.
yeah, just trying to think. Like the Docker image cleanup thing was like super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is something that we're like leaving as shrapnel. So I wonder if we could add like a check at the beginning of Canary to like say, does the image exist? And then do the thing. And then at the end, if the image didn't exist, we like delete it again. That
Mm-hmm.
might be like a relatively easy thing to implement.
Well, I can try that right now in a new. Let's see what it does right now. It just exits, I think. Cannot find engine. Yeah, it just exits. Exit status 1.
Yeah, no, I mean like if you validated like, I don't know, let me find
So
if you choose like different versions of Nginx, I guess, like if you do, what tags have they got? So if you do like, if you do the go run command again with the like Nginx validate on the end, but if you change the Nginx to be like Nginx colon like 1.23,
it gives the same.
oh yeah, that's weirdly not happy.
Here, 1 second. I'm about to get blinded by the sunlight here, so let me just close the drapes a little. I'm back. All right.
Is that... You're not in a shell that's doing the weird Docker thing again?
Oh, I am. I did that intentionally. Did you want me to be in
Oh,
one
okay.
that's not?
Oh, right. Yeah, no. So, yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea. Sorry, I was going off on like a different tangent, but that's a really useful thing, because that's like the main issue that we've seen happening here.
Yeah,
So,
because then I can like pretend I don't have Docker yet, you know?
yeah. So if you go back into that docker.go file on like line 57 or like line 56, there is a check that like should be looking for Docker.
Unable to find. Yep.
Yeah, excuse me about that. So that's not working, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether we need to like actually have a look at what that error is. Maybe that error isn't like executable file not found or something.
Mm-hmm. So we could probably just print it if you'd like.
Yeah, that error.error, if we just print that.
Mm-hmm. So let's do that's a string, isn't it? Yeah, so I can just so it's not even, it seems like it's not even reaching that code. Where's the Nginx one happening?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that might be... Sorry, I'm like thinking that it does try and do a Docker pull somewhere, I think. Yeah, that's why it's not working. Yeah, if you go into... There's another file called... Where's that gone? Is internal validator image.go.
Yep, I'm
There's
in
a
there.
function called check. Oh, you're... Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think this is getting called before the other thing. And so we're not doing that check for Docker at this point. So maybe we should make that check like... Or maybe we should just do that check here as well.
It was Docker was the other one that we had. That's where we put the print, I think. Yeah, okay. Oh, this would be so much easier if my thing was working properly, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. So I gotta figure out where check image is being used. Do you know where it's being called?
Yeah, it's in validate.go.
Validate.go, yeah.
There's a function called image arg. It's internal, I think. No, it's CMD. Oh, yeah. You're right.
And then here...
Yeah, so it's done in the Cobra thing, right? So it's validating. There's like a validation function called image arg.
Here, I'm gonna close this one. There you go. It's like slightly more readable now. Okay, so it does the check image, no such image. When is... Okay, so what is this? What is this in? Start. And this is in image arg. those Cobra command.
I think that check image function has Docker hard coded in it. Now I know I'm trying to remember, like when I first wrote this, I was like, oh, I'll support Docker, and then maybe in the future we should support Podman and Live Control and whatever else. But like Docker is just hard coded there, so I wonder if it would almost be worth doing like check at that point, or like writing like a little check that's like check for Docker before we even get into it, and just say,
Yeah, like a preliminary.
like, yeah, maybe even in the run E of the Cobra command, like doing a check for Docker, because the whole thing's just going to fail if Docker's missing.
So is it starting? I'm in the wrong file. Is it starting the container in here as well, or is it just so the image arg is getting called when we're running validate, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I mean that's just checking that the image like exists, and if it's not, it's like pulling it. But that's like before we actually get into the flow of doing the validation. So maybe we want like in the docker.go file, maybe we just want like just a small function that's like check for Docker, and then maybe we should just call that in a few different places rather than like at the moment we're like catching the error from the exec,
yeah,
and then seeing whether or not that is like moaning about the executable. But maybe we should just, I don't know if that's just like my Python brain being like ask forgiveness, not permission, but maybe we should ask permission in this case and like actually have a check for Docker
yeah,
that gets called earlier.
yeah, I think so. So then just gonna do that then. I don't think I need anything else. If error doesn't equal nil, what's this return? Okay, so I just added the check for Docker. I'll go back to my little to-do and then call it. And then I guess we'd probably want it to just return if error does not equal nil, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Expected declaration from C. Where did you come from? I don't know what this is from. Just gonna delete it and see what happens. Okay.
What did you put in that check for Docker function? I didn't actually see.
I just put I put exactly what we had in that, like where that chunk of code was on line 55. I just moved that to check for Docker. So it's just like trying to execute it. I added that. It still has that little print statement. And then if error doesn't equal nil, executable file not found, and then it returns that error.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense? Or like, does that look like... You can be very critical. I don't mind. I won't cry, I swear. I'll wait until
No, I'm
later.
trying to think. So the top line is like exec.command, which is actually, I think that's starting the container. Those command logs are probably like docker run, whatever. So we probably don't want to be doing that in the check for Docker. I'd be tempted to like move that back to where it was, at least that top line.
For this one? Line 88?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've moved that back. And the check for Docker could probably just do exec.lookpath to like see if Docker is on the path.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. I'll just move this all back. Okay. And, okay. So I'm assuming it would return an error, not an error.
Yeah.
And then you're saying...
So you probably, if you do like underscore comma error equals exec.lookpath, yeah. And then just put Docker in there. I'd probably just return the error then from this, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that should be fine. And then we can do like
Mm-hmm.
we can then call that in like different places and return that error.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we could do that in here, validator.check image. Would we want to do it I guess we'd want to do it...
I mean, yeah. Doing it there is probably fine. Like, given that Docker is already like hard coded there, like I do want to make this more flexible at some point, but this what we add now can be part of that refactor later. I'm not too worried.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Should I add it like above the... Oh wait, check for...
Yeah, that should be fine.
Undeclared. Did I not save the other file? Oh wait, what is this
You're
in?
probably in,
It's in container,
in a different place, but you need to import it.
Is that right? Code name container. Okay. Is it okay that it's importing from internal?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Check for Docker. Maybe here I'll just add the print in this check for Docker instead of like up here, just so that we can tell if it's like what's happening.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Cool. And then I'll try again in this one. Oh. Seg fault, no pointer dereference. What have I done? Validate.go, line 72, validate. I think that's the one that I... Oh, it's yelling at container check for Docker. Skatito, thanks for the sub. I appreciate it. We're pair programming on Container Canary. You can do the Canary command if you want to like learn about what that is. That's so awkward. Nightbot just ignored me. But you know what I mean. Okay, so this is giving a nil pointer error for some reason. Did I not check for Docker? Did I not like export that or something? Docker.go, line 89. Oh, did I not? Wait. Oh. Error. Oh, I guess I would have to do, okay, hold on. I think it's because the error is nil. And I'm trying to call like error.error on it, I think.
Right.
Oh, I actually.
Yeah, that's funny because look path will be true on yours because you have it installed now.
Oh, true. Oh no.
It's fine. I think
Well,
this is still the right solution.
can't find it. Okay, well
Yeah,
that's
because it. I wonder if maybe instead of look path, then we should do something more interesting, like actually running like Docker version or something, Docker info, to make sure. Like, can you do that? Can you run Docker version? Does that work for you, or does it complain that
is it
you don't
dash
have
dash version?
permission? No, it's just version. Oh no, that works. Okay, oh, that's a shame.
Okay, well
The Docker PS is the thing.
I can
Does have
uninstall
permission, right?
Docker. I don't mind. It's not an inconvenience for
Yeah.
me.
Okay. Well, I don't know. The situation you're in, I wonder if other people might also get into that situation. Although I guess
Oh,
like we
yeah, like
haven't done the logout thing because you're streaming, right? So I think most people won't get into the situation. It's literally the stream that's like put us in exactly the situation where it's installed but not quite set up properly.
well, but what if they have it installed but it's only installed to like run as root?
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
error
yeah.
that we're
Okay.
having. Like it knows the Docker's installed, but it's because it's not letting us run it because I need to run it as sudo. Like I'm pretty sure if I were to run Docker, what is it? Docker run hello world, it gives me permission denied. But if I did sudo, which I actually think this is super common.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Can you do Docker PS? Does that give you the same error?
Yeah, it's like any Docker
Yeah.
commands, I
Okay.
think.
We should call that in the check Docker then instead of doing the
Yeah,
whatever it was, look path.
that's a
We
good.
should call Docker PS,
Okay.
check whether that succeeds or not.
Or yeah. Oh, Docker version worked. It was like Docker PS that didn't work. Oh, cannot convert. What
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What do you want from me? Hold on. I like high key forgot how to write that. Hold on.
Oh, it's pretty exec command and then it takes like a list of strings.
Oh, here, wait. I'll go
Or
back to
like
it
an
then.
unpack.
Exec command, and it's a list of strings?
It's just strings. So Docker and PS will be two separate strings as two separate
Right.
arguments.
Okay. That's why.
And it's probably command like all one word rather than CMD.
Gotcha. There we go. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, and then it's yelling at me for something else
Yeah.
now. Cannot initialize two variables. Oh, it's what returns exec.command.
It gives you like a command object. No, it shouldn't. It should give you dot output on the end of command.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
That's it.
Cool. Okay. Okay, so then what we're actually checking is for like root privileges needed. So we should make sure that we have
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is checking like whether Docker is like functioning, right? Like, does it actually work?
Okay. Let's try it. Okay, so that's printing.
Yeah.
Which is like
Okay.
fine, but we should have a better error message you were saying. So we should maybe do
Yeah, we should.
errors.wrap and say, you think, or errors.new. We could do error. So errors, do you have any preference on which one?
I'm just trying to see like where that error gets bubbled up to, because if that
It should get
validate.go, right? So
valid. Yeah, when you run, right now it's only being called when you run canary validate.
Right. Oh, okay.
It's like, forget the syntax for this one.
So it's happening in the image arg as well.
In the image? Yeah, image arg. Yeah, that's where it is. That's the only place that I am calling it right now.
Okay.
I'm just trying to remember how
I'm just curious why.
Oh, wait.
It's not actually giving you an error message, is it? It's doing the print, and then it's just...
Yeah. Yeah, true. It should give a little bit more detail.
Yeah, none of those things requires an image argument, too many arguments, no such image. Like, none of those actually seem to be coming out anywhere. I wonder if this is related to the refactor that we did recently.
Oh no. Sorry, I'm just looking at syntax real quick. Like, forgot how to write this.
No worries.
There you are. Okay, so it's the other way around. Not clear by package errors. It is though. Okay. Yeah, for real. Cutter, thank you for the 17 months. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. I don't know why this is giving. I'm gonna do a little go get real quick. Oh wait, this should be I don't know why it's giving me that error, but I'm gonna try. That's so interesting. Totally used you before, and I'm literally looking at the documentation. Chat, do you know why errors.wrap is non-existent? It's telling me it's not declared by package errors, but here, I'll send it to you as well. Jacob, I'm just sending it in our little chat here for the meeting. But like, that's the docs I have open. I know that it does it.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. It literally looks right.
Yeah, it looks the same. I don't know. Here, would it help if I pushed like a little work in progress thing to the upstream so you can like see what the current state is? Or does it not make a difference for you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just do that.
I don't mind. I'm quite happy with it. I feel like we're like nearly there with this. I'm not entirely sure what that wrapping error is.
I know.
I think
it's
I found
so
weird. If you in the validate.go file, if you go up towards the top, this line 34, there's like a argument that sets whether the errors are like printed or not. We should set silence errors to false. I think that'll actually print like a more useful message.
Oh,
when
true.
this fails.
And then we might not need to. I mean, it's always nice to like the wrapped errors are really nice. I use that in my own projects.
Wrapping
it's so good.
It's just weird that it's
sad. Maybe it like could be maybe my I don't know. Maybe it's wait remove pre-go 1.9 1. I don't know. That's so strange. Different errors package, not the latest version of errors package. Maybe I'll try and update the errors package. Make sure it's up to date. so strange and annoying.
Yeah, maybe we just won't wrap that error or something.
Yeah, like that might just be what we have to do. Oh well, we can just return the check for doc. Wait, what file man? No. Docker, there we go. Okay, yeah, we'll just return now. I guess we'll just return the error since now we turned off the. I actually didn't know that was an option in Cobra. I haven't done a ton with Cobra, but I've seen it. But yeah, and then I'll just get rid of that for now. Triple check.
Okay, so that error makes sense. Right? Error exit status 1 is because the Docker PS is giving an exit status 1. So we are seeing like all of the errors now.
Yeah.
We just want to wrap it so that we actually have a nice error message.
Come on, go.
You could just not wrap it. You could just do errors.new and give a new error.
What version of Go do I have? I have 1.19. I should at least. Yeah. It isn't using, so I'm just used to it being auto imported. Can you not do like fmt.errf? Yeah, I guess I can. It's just weird that we'd have to. Strange. Doc. Blah. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll just do that.
Yeah.
That what kind of error message? Is that like a suitable error message, or what would you? Do you have a preference?
Yeah, really. Like it's. I'm trying to think of all the situations this will happen. This will happen if you're. Yeah. This will happen anytime Docker PS fails, right? So in the situation you're in, you need to be root, but also if it's completely missing. So I wonder if we should add the exec dot. Was it check path or look path? Maybe we should do that like in this function as well first. So we could like look on the path to see if Docker's there and return an error that says like Docker is missing, and then if it is there, then do this, and then that error message makes sense, right?
It's like check 1 if Docker even exists on the path, and then 2 check that it doesn't require root privileges.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, did you say that would be a like? Should we have another function? So basically, have this one change.
No, I just do it for that.
Pardon?
I just put in that function.
Okay. Okay, and then we'll do. Oh, this one was the path. So.
Yeah, like underscore comma error is exec.look path. Yeah. So.
And that is a string comma error. I could probably. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we'll we can refactor this.
Error or something and say it's missing. I don't even know if it needs to have the.
We can see what the error output looks like and decide if we need that much wrapping. And I think what I actually will have to do is thanks, chat. I appreciate the help. So they're saying that the apparently the errors package hasn't been updated in a while and is looking for new maintainers.
All right.
Hasn't been updated in a couple years. So yeah, so they're saying for whatever reason. That's so weird though. I've totally used it fine in other things.
It's not even in the standard library. Like,
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
just assumed that in the standard library.
I thought so too. So I don't know. Very confusing times. Okay, so let's try that. We can try running it. Try running that again. Error, Docker requires root privileges to run, and then it shows exit status 1.
Cool. That makes sense, I think. I don't know if we need the exit status 1, because that's just showing like what the exit status of the command was.
True. So we can probably just...
But I'm happy either way.
Okay.
But it needs to be errors.new now, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it can be errors.new. True.
Although, yeah, it feels weird to use errors now that I know it's not in the standard library.
It just makes no sense. It just makes no sense. Like, and I guess the other one's probably a similar situation of like, we can probably just use errors.new because it's just going to show the same exit status 1, I think. Cool. Okay, so we'll try that. Try that one more time with Docker being installed. So Docker requires root privileges to run, and then exit status 1. Oh, errors.wrap was replaced with fmt.errorf. Where did you see that, Jake? Do you mind linking? I gotta probably update my other projects then that use it. Okay, cool. So let me uninstall Docker and then see what happens. Sound good?
Cool. Yeah.
This is the hack, by the way, Jacob. If you ever want to do, if you're doing any like live stream coding, being able to do passwordless sudo with your YubiKey so that you're not typing your passwords. That's like the most nerve-wracking thing when you have to type your passwords. Like you have to like mute your mic and like make sure people can't tell like where your hands are going on the keyboard. Anyway, gives me a lot of peace of mind not having to type my password.
Yeah. So you just have a YubiKey that you tap and that just fills in the password?
No, so it doesn't fill in the password. I actually just enabled it on my machine. It basically is like password or YubiKey as like authentication for sudo. So it tries the YubiKey
Okay, is that
first.
like a PAM?
Yeah, it's a PAM. Yeah. Actually, you mentioned that you like writing. So I did a blog post on that a while back. I also really like writing. I find it's a great way to like reinforce what you've learned and like more so than anything. Docker is not installed, so not removed. Oh no. Okay, so we gotta... Did I do sudo id? Okay, it's very confused. It thinks Docker is not installed. Oh no, wait, that's old versions. What did I do to install? Okay. We can figure this out, I swear. Okay, I'll just do literally what I do this.
Like a CE or something.
Yeah, I'll just do that and then remove. There you go. Okay. Cool. Okay, cool. So that should work now, and then I'll try and run. Docker is... Oh. Looks like I forgot my little %s.
Oh, yeah.
Whoopsies. All right. Cool. That works for both, like requiring root privileges and for not having Docker installed. I think that's just for validate though. So is there anywhere else that we want to add it?
Yeah, so I think there's also that in docker.go on, is it line 56-ish? I don't know if that's moved around now. But we might want to call that there because we're checking the output of where we're using Docker. But yeah, so you could delete like the if statement at line 56 and just put the check like before we even do that exec command.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Where do you come from? I think that's from that if. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so then check for Docker.
I do it above that, sorry, above the command. Yeah.
Would you want to, I guess, just return it?
Yeah, just return it. That should be fine.
All right, and then how did we get...
In theory, it should never get that far and have to call that one, but it's good to put it there.
Yeah, I was going to ask, so like how do we get here? What is this?
I wonder, like, I guess I'm thinking like maybe every time we use Docker, we should be checking, because what if for some reason in the future we like removed that image, that check image, like it would then run at this point, right? So this is kind of more future proofing than actually like the code can get in this state today.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So it seems good. We've like fixed 2 things, which is cool.
Yeah, that's super productive. I was kind of nervous. I was like, I was kind of nervous, but I'm glad that we're like, that was very productive. Very happy.
Cool. So are you okay to like push these and like make a pull request and stuff?
Yeah, I can do that. Thanks for...
The only thing you might reject your PR because we enforce the like DCO sign off. So I can't remember if when you committed you like did the -s or whatever, but you might need to do that.
I can probably just like amend the changes or whatever. I can probably go back.
Yeah, I think you can do commit, amend -s, and I think it just fixes it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll do this secondary one. Actually, it doesn't really matter. I'll just do it. I think I set it up so that it's always signing, but I'll have to double check because it's again a new machine. I have no idea. I barely know what I'm doing. I also didn't add anything, so that's... What did I change in the Go mod and goes on? Oh, I don't think... Do I have NeoGit installed? Oh, I updated errors. So that should probably be... I'll just do that in like a separate commit.
Oh.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, sorry. All right. Don't mind me. I'm just in La La Land over here, figuring out what I'm doing. I'm just trying to unstage the Go mod and the Go sum because I don't want you to have to like approve those to get the functionality in there. Okay, there you go. That's such a generic, vague commit message, but it's fine. Yeah, I can do PR for that.
Oh.
Just now, or like, I'll do that off stream.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much for your help and for coming on and chatting. I think chat had a great time. I had a great time.
Fixing bugs.
Yeah, That was awesome. We found out some new bugs and we fixed them, and overall 10 out of 10.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for having me on. It's been really good fun.
Yeah, it really was. Well, I'll let you go. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thanks again for being here and having such a cool app to show us.
Yeah, no worries. See you around. Bye everyone in chat.